Welcome to Saturday Shred Show. I'm Chris Grow, and this is the internet's most stoked surfboard show. Where today we're talking fish, and I want to know what you think about that in the comments below. While you're down there, maybe click the like button. Big shout out to Jacob Folsom. You won some Arnett's last Saturday. The original fish was designed in 1967 by a kneeboarder named Steve Liss from San Diego, who liked riding pintails, but who couldn't do it because, like bodyboarders in modern days, he was using fins to help kick into the waves to catch them. That created a problem because if you can imagine being a kneeboarder with your knees on the center of the board like this, riding a pintail that ended really narrowly back here, your fins would hang over either edge of your rail and slow your board down while you were riding. His real leap of genius was designing a split double pintail so he had a place to rest his fins while still preserving that pintail feel as your inside rail rests in the face of a wave. Since then, fish have stayed relatively popular because of the way that they follow a wave's lead and dance with the wave, where a normal shortboard would want to take more control and overpower the wave at times. If you think about it like dancing, surfing a fish is a lot like doing a foxtrot or a waltz with your partner, whereas surfing a shortboard is a lot like going to a nightclub to bump and grind all over a stranger. That's because when you surf a fish, you kind of have to plan your steps ahead of time and turn in different stages, but on a shortboard, you're just in the moment doing whatever you want. It's the difference between making a move on your date at prom and she either slaps you in the face or kisses you back, or courting a girl over 7 dates and you have to kind of wait and see how things work out. A fish takes its time while a shortboard just bangs all over the place. If you're a longtime fish fan, you can notice pretty quickly that this board stays true to the tradition of a fish outline. It just has a little bit less width from here to here in the tail. It also has a tiny bit less width at the stringer and a little bit more full of a rail than you might be used to on a traditional fish. Also has more tail and nose rocker than you would see in a fish from the 70s. Up in the nose, we see one of my favorite things, V. Flat midpoint of board, slowly turning into another V, blending into a deeper V with very, very slight concave on either side of the V panel running here and here. With a tail like this, you can always expect that when the swallow gets cut deeper into the board, that board will give you more hold in the wave. And if the cut is shallower, for example, if this cut only came to here instead of all the way in here, that board would be more loose and it would want to slide around more. In fact, a lot of a fish's magic comes from all the surface area that you have back here in the tail that you can plane on to go fast when you're going flat on a wave. But as soon as you're in the face of a steeper wave, there's more hold in the water because of the way the longer rail line comes back into this pin and sinks into the face of a steep wave right here. Tail shape is really important on a fish like this, but what's even more important is how the fin boxes are placed. Chris Carrozza did something different than a traditional fish with these two boxes. He placed them slightly more forward than you would find in a traditional fish, and he angled the leading edge of the box in slightly more towards the stringer. Both of those changes to the fin boxes make this board respond more immediately to your demands for turning than a traditional fish, which is sometimes associated with being so stiff that you've got to grab the rail and pull it through cutbacks. Those fin relationship changes will have a lot to do with how you surf this board because it will give more maneuverability to a straight outline that wants to go straight. One thing we all know about the outline of a surfboard is that when we have more curve back here, that makes the board want to maneuver more and turn, whereas when the outline back here is straight, that makes the board want to go, I'm not going to say it again. Especially if we had fin boxes that were moved back more and angled straight instead of towards the stringer. Look closely at these Rastovich keel fins and you'll find that they're very different from traditional keel fins because they have this cutaway base back here. You can see how this fin would normally come down to about here and then come over and connect to the board fully on the bottom, but that section is missing. You can see what I mean better now. There's a space back there between the back edge of the fin and the board. And many would say that that's a good thing because one thing that we all know about fins is that when the base of a fin gets longer, we have a lot of surface area to push against the water so that we can get pushed back and create drive. Some argue that when a fin base gets too long though, that gives water the opportunity to generate too much turbulence around the trailing edge of the fin, which creates drag and slows the surfboard down. What's unique about these fins is that they give you the opportunity to feel a traditional keel fin beneath your board, but the cutaway base on the trailing edge eliminates any excess drag that would come from having such a wide base. If you want to find proof in nature for why designing fins like this might be a good idea, just look at the pelvic fins of any fish that you find in the ocean. I don't mean fish like a surfboard fish, I mean the actual fish that swim around. If you Google it or just go snorkeling in the real world, you'll find that the trailing edge of their pelvic fins have a detached base. On a board like this, the way that you place your stance really matters. You can surf this board with your feet a bit more further up than a traditional fish when you're pumping down the line, but whenever it comes time to do a turn or to pivot up towards the lip, it really helps to have your back foot over the fins, especially over the fin closest to the rail that you're engaging in the water. This traction pad on this board is only 3 pieces of a 5-piece pad that Dakine makes for fish. The reason that you may want to only put 3 pieces of it on is because you can line up these 3 pieces with the beginning of the fins on the bottom of the board. That way when you're surfing this, you can have your stance up like this and then scoot your foot back and know exactly when your back foot is over the fins, because you're going to feel traction under your feet as opposed to wax. I think this board will be most fun in a variety of conditions, from weak point breaks to barreling reef breaks, as long as you're seeking to be guided by the wave like a dance partner following a lead. It's got performance characteristics somewhere between what you would see Dave Rastovich surfing and a traditional fish from the 60s or 70s, and I think it's a fun option for anyone trying to find a new flow that you can't get on a shortboard. That does it for this episode. If you want more fish and alternative shapes on Shred Show, tell us in the YouTube comments below. If you want to see more boards by Carrozza like their popular El Stumpo or the Little Buddy, check the link below this video. We hope the waves are up where you are, and we will see you next Saturday.